Cool.
And we're on.
All right. Hello, friends, and welcome to the Doing Better Show. I am Oliver Ox, and I'm so excited to be here with you today on the flagship show of the Doing Better Network. Joined, as always, by DZ. What's up, DZ?
What's up?
And Amberly's here. Hi, Amberly.
Hello.
Amberly's clearly been out and around looking extra glamorous
it's
today.
It's my birthday week.
Birthday week.
Month. Year.
I love it. And we have a very special guest. Kyle James is here with us in the house. Hi, Kyle.
What's good?
It is great to have you here. This is our first time meeting, but we've been TikTok friends for a couple of years now.
Yeah,
and you hustle. That's why I wanted to reach out to you. Not just that. Obviously, your music is awesome too, but this man stays on the talk. He stays content.
I'm glad it comes across that way.
It seems that way to me. It always seems like you're doing something active. I see you in a lot of lives, which I give you a lot of credit for because I don't have the fucking patience for TikTok Live. TikTok Live makes me crazy.
It's maybe that's why I don't feel like I do much because my live just kind of stays at like 5 people. They don't push me out there. I don't know why.
I mean, it's a big thing with TikTok. It's like the algorithm, it's what got me into TikTok in the first place, and that like the videos, its ability to curate content for me was pretty impressive in the early days. It's less impressive now, and I feel like there's some weird dark stuff going on back there.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
And it seems like it's really hard for people to break out. I see a lot of the same old faces on there with the same old message.
Yeah, we now have the same influencers just peddling the same content all the time. It's really frustrating.
Yeah.
And one of my big frustrations when I was making a lot of content on TikTok was and it was a big reason why I started the show. It was actually the motivation for starting the show, was that everything remotely positive and constructed I put out, no traction whatsoever. Couple hundred views, couple comments, whatever. You get really positive comments, but there would be no views.
Sure,
and if I was like, here's why these people are fucking idiots.
Yeah, I was going to say the rage bait is where to go.
Like 20, 30, 40, 50,000 views. I had like 2 videos when I was like, here's why Republicans are idiots and here's why Democrats are idiots, like kind of videos. They killed it on there. But then you get the echo chamber. You get everyone else being like, yeah, or like...
I have the most random TikToks that blew up. The first TikTok that ever blew up was a video of me trying to show my friend how to like shoot pool. And you can see 2 men on the side trying to mansplain to me how to tell her how to hold a pool stick. And I was like, this is what you should not do as a man. And that one went off. And then the other one was about drugs. Yeah, I was like, there's like a sound that's like, are you going to be the problem today or the solution? And she goes, I'm going to be the whole problem. And I was like the person who ratted out Celsius for having traces of MDMA in there.
I haven't heard that.
I mean, that's why I feel cracked out on Celsius, I feel. But probably not anymore. Unfortunately.
So, Kyle, why TikTok for you? What got you on the TikTok, and what made that the place where you decided to put music out?
Well, like you said, when during the pandemic, when a bunch of people got on there, something was different. It was just putting you out. It was just connecting you to people. And so when I started doing it, I was like, damn, this is different than any other app. So I just kept going with it. And now it's kind of similar to the other apps, but I still keep going with it because I'm insane, I guess. I don't know.
Well, or a genius, depending on the perspective.
Genius.
There you go. Do you? I know you have an Instagram. I think you're pretty much across all the socials, right?
Yeah.
Is TikTok now not the place where you have the biggest following? Do you have?
No. TikTok's the only. I have like 20,000 on there, but the way it works, at least for me, for like music, I feel like you have like videos that blow up, and then you get a bunch of people from that, and then for me, it's kind of like everything else is dead in between. I also make the mistake of every time I resist making political videos, but every time I do, it just like kicks me down to 0. I don't know why.
That's so interesting.
I think it's because it has me on like the music algorithm. So then it's like, this is an opinion. Nobody wants this. They're probably right. Nobody wants it, but yeah.
And you're out of New Hampshire, right?
Yeah.
Out of Manchester?
Yeah.
What's the? Are you from Manchester forever?
I grew up in Hooksett, And then, yeah, pretty much Manchester
Yeah,
or like around the area.
Southern New Hampshire area.
Yeah.
Nice. What's the music scene like in Manchester? Do you get out much?
I have not found much yet. There's a lot of open mics, which
Yeah.
are cool. A lot of the paid gigs that like I've tried to look into, they're kind of, there's not that many people up there, so they're kind of booked up.
Yeah.
So unless you kind of get in with someone who will let you on to their already booked show, I haven't found much. But there's cool open mics.
I think it's harder too with as an individual rather than having a whole band. Like I think a lot of times
Yeah,
places want to book the whole kit and caboodle.
Yeah, that's the other thing too. Is there are some offers that I've gotten, and it's kind of like you're just background noise for a room of people, which is just not really what. I mean, I probably should do it, but
Do you have like an artist resume?
I mean, yes, kind of. I have stuff I've done.
Well, like
songs.
one like written out. Because I've
Oh, yeah, yeah.
found that apparently that's like something that people look for is like an artist resume. So like if you want to get booked gigs, it's like, well, this is my following on here, and this is my following on here, and these
Yeah.
are all the things that I do.
I do have something like that. Maybe I should revisit that. I don't know.
It's hard though. It's like a moving target, right? So like the whole back in the day when my band was playing, the whole thing was like you have to have a press kit, right? You put together your press kit, and you send it. But and used to, I'm old enough. That was a physical thing that you used to send off to people. Now obviously it's all digital. But I don't know. Does that like to get them to even open that message in the
Honestly,
inbox kind of thing? Like it's tough.
Your Instagram's not your resume. If your Instagram doesn't show your work like that, they're probably not gonna get you. I feel like that's what people look at now.
It's an interesting point. Do you think that's true for like everything or only in the arts?
It's getting to everything. Maybe not everything right now, but it's getting to it. Like
Yeah, I was gonna say-
LinkedIn is the professional, like Facebook. Like LinkedIn is popping. Like
LinkedIn's
it's getting
gross.
crazy.
I
I'm
fucking hate
resisting a
LinkedIn.
LinkedIn so
I know.
bad.
I think I have like my name on there.
There's so
That's
much
it.
money.
I have
on
one from
LinkedIn, it's
years ago
crazy.
when they made me get one, like some job I had, and every job wants me on there, but I just it seems
It's
like
gonna
the
be
worst place.
Yeah, I mean, it's an untapped market. A lot of people are trying to like get into it before it becomes oversaturated, like Facebook and all of that, because there's a lot of stuff. Like it's basically like imagine social media. You see all the funny stuff. You see all of gross whatever. Over here, just all professional stuff. Like people you could clearly tell like.
I have
different.
definitely creeped on like people that I've dated on LinkedIn just to see, like
My professional background. Here you go.
yeah. Well, I want to.
But I feel like I don't know. So
Yeah,
I
they're
feel like
promos.
the reasons I really got drawn to TikTok is like the opposite of the reason. It like TikTok has this like authenticity or had an authenticity. I don't think it really does anymore. But there was so many people who were just like, here's me and my rawest, like doing my thing, telling you my thing. Like this is me. I just got out of the doctor's office. I'm gonna yell about it in my car and like whatever. It's like a very real raw thing. Same with a lot of the art that's on there as well. And I feel like because it's for professional thing, like LinkedIn is the fakest shit ever. Like everyone's like, oh, like how many blah blah blah. I care so much. We made our Q4 goals and we're so excited. The pizza party was great. Like it's oh god.
The
And-
pizza party.
Right,
Oh my
like,
God.
it just seems like relating on that level, and I'm just not. I
feel
suck at
attacked with
being
that
fake.
What?
I feel attacked with that one.
The pizza party?
We just had a pizza party. It just
Yeah,
got
no
posted on
bonuses,
LinkedIn.
but here's some pizza.
I'm attacking your boss. Like pizza parties are fucking whack. Nobody wants one. And if you're excited about a pizza party, your job sucks, bro. I'm sorry.
Hey, a potluck.
Yeah, I used to be excited about the pizza parties, and then I realized that I wasn't getting paid enough.
Yeah.
Yeah,
enjoy
I was
the
that
pizza.
person in the office when people would talk shit. I'd be like,
But
"You're
there's
so
pizza.
unthankful." Like, what's wrong with you? and then as I get older, I'm like, "Fuck pizza. Who wants pizza?"
Yeah.
That whole like getting older thing's funny though, because you know how you see like there's this sort of stereotype that like old people are kind of like stuck in their ways and like curmudgeonly, and like the older I get, I'm wondering like maybe they just like know everything shit and like that's.
I think that's what it is.
There's some
dude.
experience.
I used to be so like miserable and existentialist in my 20s, and I still am, but I just kind of it's there in the background now. I expect it every day.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about your music. So you said a generally happy guy who plays generally sad. No, that's wrong.
A mostly happy person who writes mostly sad songs. Yeah.
Was that like how you blew up on TikTok? Was through your music, or?
I mean,
I mean,
I wouldn't say I've blown up, but yeah.
I mean, 20,000.
I had
That's pretty good.
I had one video this back before the algorithm switched or whatever. One video that did really, really good, and then I've had a couple other ones that didn't do quite as good. But you kind of get like people follow you from that. But I think it might just be with music. They don't you know when you follow someone and it starts showing you more and more of them?
Yeah.
It doesn't really do that unless you have a niche. And I don't have a niche. I just kind of make whatever, you know?
Yeah, I have noticed that for sure.
What do you mean by in like a specific sound niche? Like what? How do you
Like
mean that?
playing guitar in different places, just like
Or-
without like looking at the camera or something.
Yeah, or that's one.
Oddly specific.
Yeah, that's it.
You've seen those people who like they make metal versions of like pop songs, and every video is them making a metal version.
Okay.
It's like that.
I've been finding a lot of metal versions of reggaeton songs.
Yeah,
and it's everything
exactly.
to me. Like the Bad Bunny songs that are like, I don't know. It was bad, but
No,
You
but
gotta
that's
send this song.
no, but that's a good like or like acapella's got like a big thing. Like they're doing
Does
acapella
it?
versions of things. I've seen a bunch of those videos or like that kind of. That's a great point though. Like some a very. Oh my God! Look at this kind of videos,
you have
right?
to
Like,
stay in the box. They don't want you out of the box, which I've tried to do that, but it just kind of makes it all. It kind of just makes it suck, because then you start making stuff and you're like, I don't really want to make this, but I have to keep doing this thing, you know. So I kind of just do what I do, and hopefully it works.
I feel like that's the artist struggle. Is
Yeah.
like you can't be confined to a box, and the people who can, it's like there has to be some business aspect to their brain that like gets them in that zone because I feel you 100%. Like I cannot just do the same thing all the time.
So
I mean, I respect it. They put a lot of work in, but
Oh my God,
I would
yeah.
go crazy.
I honestly, because I'm a creative too, and I do like, I do photo shoots. I do like a lot of the same content. I'm niche right now to like the nightclubs and that kind of stuff. So like, it gets boring, but you just gotta like understand that there's a goal at the end of it. TikTok is like basically, like think of it like a river. That's where you're going to like find people. From there, you got to find a way to keep them and to bring them, where you want to bring them. So find like a landing page, get a landing page, get on your website, start personalizing your content a lot more and do what you really want there. So when the people get on TikTok, you get them to go on your page. And then
Yeah.
right there, like you get more out of people.
but I think that's a hard thing for a lot of like you're saying. Like I think
It's
a
a
lot of
business, like how she was saying. Like
Right,
you
like
have
you-
to get to a point where it's like, okay, what I'm really doing, I want to take it serious, and like it's a business at the end of the day. So you got to do something at a certain point for everything else to make sense.
I just had someone recently ask to be my social media manager, and I was like, please, like take all of it, do it for me,
Yeah, I
because
feel like I need a manager. Yeah.
It's so hard to do it, but like being an independent artist and like having to have all of those different brains is like, it's
Also,
almost,
if
You
you're
can.
working a job, like
Yeah.
there are days where just working a job will like suck the creativity out of my brain, and I'll try to do it, but like when I try to record something after a rough day at work, I end up just wasting an hour and then listening back and be like, this is terrible.
yeah, and then you're like
Yeah.
hating yourself.
No,
Like-
I have the exact same experience with a lot of like creative stuff too. And like you'll plan your week, and you're like, all right, Monday I'll get home from work at 5, or and then I'm gonna go like do X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
And like you don't plan for that feeling of 5 o'clock when you're like, bro, this job just kicked the shit out of me all day long.
Yeah, and it messes with your head too, because I made a video about this the other day actually, because it's like this thing you love doing, but somehow everything else in your life is just like sucking the joy out of it for you. So then when you go to do it, you're like, I love this, right? Do I love this?
Do I love
Should I do
this?
this?
Yeah, no, yeah, for real.
But so I think that's the problem with like what you're saying a little bit, and that it's hard to do both. It's hard to feel genuine in your artwork and be like, I must market this to a
Yeah.
certain like segment. Like I think
Yeah.
for me, like I don't know that I don't think I could do that. Like I think I'm either writing something because I think it's cool and like I want to write it for the sake of writing it, or I'm writing it for another purpose, and like I don't know if I can do the second thing at all. Like I don't,
Yeah, no, I mean, it's specifically why I've stopped performing, is because like I just don't feel like it stopped feeling like it was for me. Like I keep the amount of people recently who have been like, so when's the next song coming out? When are you performing next? I'm like, never. For you. The fuck?
That's just because you're mean though.
Am I being mean, or I'm just like, it feels like a weird
I'm just
energy
kidding.
transfer,
No,
like I as much as I do like relating to people and connecting to people through music, it's also like it is inherently for me. Like
Yeah.
I started singing and creating for me. So once you add all of like the marketing and like having to network and go out there and do, it's like is this for me, or am I doing this as a career, or am I doing this because I love, like, do I love this? Like, what am I?
That's why I've been trying to convince my girlfriend to just like manage, because she's good with schedules and plans and stuff like that. I am not. I'll make the lists of stuff to do, but then I'll forget about it forever until 9 months I find it and I go, oh yeah, I was supposed to do all that stuff. If I could have someone else with that type of brain to handle those things, I just want someone to be like, you have to be here at this time on this day, and I'll go. Mm-hmm. But something about leading up to that it becomes very overwhelming.
Yeah.
How did you get into music in the first place? Like, what was it? Have you been a lifelong musician? Something you took up later in life? What's your sort of music story?
I mean, I kind of always was into it. I had, like, my mom had tapes of me singing Disney songs when I was like 7, and then
what was your favorite Disney song?
A Whole New World.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know why that was the first one that came.
That's I also like The Little Mermaid a lot. I don't know why, but that. I mean,
is it because your red hair maybe?
Am I a redhead?
I mean, strawberry blonde.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
In the certain light. But yeah, and then from there, around like 12, 13, I got real into Blink-182 and Linkin Park, and
Nice.
wrote some absolutely shitty songs. And then in high school, I was in a band, and that was pretty cool. And we did a bunch of stuff. And then eventually they broke up, and everyone kind of moved around. And then I fell into a pit of hell for about 7 years, and then eventually got out of that pit and started making music again.
Wow. Okay. Did you for guitar specifically? Did you take lessons when you were a kid? Self-taught? Like, what's your sign up for lessons when you're older? What's that been?
Yeah, I mean, I think one thing you'll learn about me is that, like, I have self-sabotage built within me. I did take lessons, but again, it made me kind of hate it because it was just too, like, it felt like math. Yeah. So I kind of just taught myself and like learned by ear, and I'm still not the best, but it's developed. I'm happy with it. You know.
What motivates you? Like, what makes you write? Like, what's the spark that gets a song out of you?
Well, before, I've been doing it for so long now that it kind of just like, there are times where sometimes I'll just play and like stare at the wall, and whatever comes will come. But then there's definitely other times where I'm like going through something, and I'll try to specifically write for that. But I swear a lot of it just kind of comes from, I don't know. Sometimes I'll write something and be like, I don't know what this is or what it's about, but it's pretty cool.
Is it when you write about something you're going through, is it helpful?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. I love solitude. I'm a Taurus. I'm like,
I was gonna ask. I was sitting over here like resisting the urge to ask what his sign is.
I've given up trying to hide it, but everyone's like, you're a Taurus, right? And I'm like, yeah, it's pretty obvious, I guess. Very hard to motivate. I like this.
I feel like the self-sabotaging is the inherent stubbornness.
It is. It's also partially like, fuck making the same video again and again and again. I'm going to be the one person where it works out for them not to do that. So yeah, it's kind of that type of situation. I took lessons, didn't really like them that much, so just kept going from there.
You said you were in a band in high school. Have you been in any other collectives since, or you just do solo stuff?
Just solo stuff. I did a couple things. Like this band in Mass was looking for a singer, and I did a couple songs with them, but that didn't work out. And that's pretty much it. I've had a couple other potential bands, but once you get past like 25 years old, nobody wants to show up for practice.
Yep.
So I just kind of gave up. I'm just doing this on my own. Nobody wants to show up, so.
Well, and it's hard too, because if you got a band of 5 or 6 people in there, like, you need everyone to show up, or it's no, like, you know.
Yeah,
four out of 5 is 0 out of 5.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like,
4 out of 5 is bad.
Yeah.
What was I just about to say? I forgot.
Something
Sorry.
genius, I think.
Probably, but you should continue. So.
What was the name of your first band, or your high school band? Do you remember?
It was Stockholm, but then we changed it to Call Her Alaska.
Why?
Well, it's a Velvet Underground song.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't my idea. There were 2 singers. I was one of them, and it was the other singer's idea.
That's cool.
It's a cool name, though. I liked it.
What was your genre?
I would say emo, but
Okay.
indie kind of. It was weird. I don't know. Eclectic.
Yeah.
What would you call your genre now? Like, I'm not good at this game at like what you name things when it comes to music.
I still just say emo because for me, like, that was the music I grew up on, and when I hear it, even the non-emo songs, I'm like, this is so emo. But nobody else. I don't know. I've gotten indie. I have some like soul songs, like lo-fi type of stuff.
Yeah.
But overall, indie emo, something like that. Yeah.
Nice.
You give the aesthetic, so
Oh, good.
it's like 90s emo.
Yeah, that's my vibe. I like that.
Cool.
Yeah, I never got super into that genre, but I definitely like at the time, like I was never a Blink-182 guy. But like your stuff really speaks to me, and it's just again for the same reason what I was saying about the old TikTok that I like is that just genuine. A, you're talented, but like B, just the genuine nature of it, and I love that. I love that aspect. I just love that. Like so, like here I am. This is what I do. You know.
Well, thank you. There's definitely plenty of times where I'm like, I don't know if I want to put this in a song, but you know.
Yeah.
Especially being an adult's so weird. Then you got to worry about like a whole office full of people and what they might think if they see your.
Well, that's what I was gonna say earlier when DZ was saying like people are looking at your Instagram a lot more. I specifically, when I'm like interviewing for a job, I will like make sure that they don't know anything about my social life or anything about me, because then it's like, oh, you're a singer, where can I find your song? I'm like, nowhere. What do you mean? I don't do that.
Yeah, I Google myself to make sure nothing comes up, and as long as it's only the music stuff, then I'm like, good, because the odds of them making the connection like this is the same person, I doubt it. But
I did that recently because I was doing some job related things, and I was talking to my wife, and I was like, oh yeah, it's okay, I do everything, all my music and podcast stuff is all under my sort of pseudonym, Oliver Ox. Like none of it's got my real name. So I Googled my real name, and I was like, fuck. Like there's the first 3 or 4 links are all great, and then you get down, I was like, oh no, that goes right to my podcast where I'm talking about really controversial stuff. Okay, so I had to go and do a little bit of an audit in that way.
I lucked out because there's somebody else with my real name who is a much more successful human being than me, so they kind of occupy, and they're from around the same area, so hopefully if I ever apply for jobs or something, they find that guy and they go, yes, bring him in.
That guy. Des, you got something?
Yeah, the entire thing about like, oh, you said something controversial, therefore you can't get a job is the most retarded thing I've ever heard in my life. Respectfully, it's the most dumbest thing I've fucking heard in my life. Like, what does that affect your company besides the other people because you got hired? They're mad. Like I never understood that.
I think it's a trickle down effect of other people, right? Your company probably doesn't care what you say, but they care that people that they care about what you say.
Yeah, that's it. Especially if it's like a publicly traded thing.
Yeah.
Then they got a whole other boatload of shit to worry about.
Because it sort of goes along with what you were saying earlier too. Is that like making money and being genuine are not compatible things. Like making money means not always. Very often, certainly in a corporate sense, means putting your values and the things that are putting you to the side. All right, Des, you don't have a camera, so you don't get me so demanding.
Okay, now so respectfully, you are tiny.
He's yelling.
You're tiny. So I don't understand why you and your tiny job getting hired has an effect on your company. That doesn't make sense to me.
I feed this motherfucker, by the way.
Unless you're the damn CEO, fucking manager or something, I feel like it shouldn't have an effect on anything.
I'm not arguing with you I'm not arguing with what you're saying, what you feel like is true. I feel like you're 100% right. I'm just talking about the reality, is that most people with a paycheck on the line are cowards. And me included. Like, I got to keep feeding you. So, like, now there's differing levels to this. You know, will you take a job doing something in which you're directly going against your morals? Well, maybe not, but I will take a job where I have to shut the fuck up about my morals, right? Like, so there's levels of it, and I don't think there are many things in my daily job that have any real impact on this, and or vice versa. So I don't think I'm violating values in either direction much. But it's still, I don't go and brag to my boss about all this stuff. Or certainly, my boss is chill as fuck, actually. So what's up, Jeff? But my boss's boss and the rest of the people in my company, like, I'm not telling them about this. I don't want them to hear my opinions on some politician that they fucking flag wave for. Like, people get offended. And it's hard to have discussions when you talk critically about things. It's why I don't have these, I don't flag down the mailman or like, hey, let so you know, this is what It is just not things
That's what I'm thinking about today.
Yeah, right. It's just generally doesn't happen in polite conversation because people they're snowflakes. Like they don't want to hear. There's not very many people who are able to hear a contradictory view and go, okay, agree to disagree, let's move on with our day. Most people are going to be like, you believe a thing that I don't believe. I don't like you as much anymore.
And also, you're the devil and probably racist. It's always immediately. Yeah.
Well, back to your music. Is there a song that you made that like you listen to even now that helped you get through some difficult emotions or
That
like
I made?
Yeah.
I mean, kind of all of them in a way. Like, honestly, I was just doing so bad for so long in my life that sometimes I listen and just like, damn, I did this. That's pretty sick. But there's also another part of my brain that listens, and I'm like, who the hell? Who cares how you feel? Who wants to hear this? You know what I mean? So I'm torn between the two, but I think probably the first song that I put up, Motivation. It's not like the best quality, but that was kind of like when I was like, all right, I'm gonna try to do something.
So, I don't know, feel free to tell me to shut up and mind my own business. But you've referenced a couple of times not doing as well in the past. It seems like you're doing really well now. And the whole point of this show is about doing better and about growth. And, like, I don't know how much you'd like to share about where you were at and you know, what it took to get you out of it, or...
Did it happen to be your Saturn return? Were you 27 to 29?
No, it was much earlier than that. Yeah,
Cool.
it was kind of, I just got swept up in the whole opioid epidemic. When I was like 18, it's also really bad timing. I got kicked out of the band I was in at the very same time we graduated high school, so all my friends were going away.
Oh.
And the very next week, got my wisdom teeth taken out, and they gave me a 30-day supply of Vicodin. And it just continued from there, you know? And I don't know what it's like now, because that was a really weird time. Like, everybody had them. You didn't even really have to look. People would just offer them. So
when did you graduate? What year is this?
2008.
Oh yeah, that was fucking everywhere.
It was literally
everywhere. Yeah.
People you would never expect would just offer them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it kind of, I didn't have to do much to fall down that path, but it just kept going and going. And then eventually you get to a point where, you know, you're in like, you're stuck. What are you going to do? If you stop, then you can't even function and you can't have a job, especially if you're living on your own. Yeah. You don't really have a choice unless you have some opportunity to like get out of it for a bit.
That's, I'm a little older than you, but so many people close to me in that time frame, sort of late aughts, early teens. I went to more funerals than I can count, and so many people's lives absolutely destroyed. And like the one thing I say so often, because I struggle with, so I've had struggles in the past, is I'm so glad that opiates make me sick. Vicodin makes me throw up. I cannot take a Vicodin.
Oh, wow.
And
yeah.
Thank you, God. That's the greatest gift. The Percocet and Vicodin will make me vomit, and I cannot take them.
Yeah.
Is the greatest thing. And because I remember they used to, wisdom teeth was one. Sorry, we opened the window because it's super hot in here, and you're gonna hear some background noise. My apologies. But wisdom teeth was one. I had another one. I'm a clumsy fucker. I'm always breaking something or whatever, spraining something. But back in the day, they would just give you big old fistfuls of these pills.
I was 16. They gave me 30 days. Which I took in about 10 days. Yeah. So they just did not even. It's so weird to me because even after I first got into it, I was like, damn, they just give this stuff out, and apparently the rest of the world didn't catch up for another 10 years. Yeah. But yeah.
I actually had a little bit of a reminder of that. I had I broke my wrist in September, and I went. They were supposed to I was in Atlanta at the time working, and I was supposed to get some drugs from CVS, and they fucked up. So the hotel I was staying at was right next to a CBD store, and I went in there. I was like, dude, give me something so I can sleep. I'm in a ton of pain. And he gave me kratom extract. And I've never taken kratom before, and supposedly kratom in its natural form, just like it's ground up leaves, is not addictive, not bad for you, whatever, whatever. But the extracts are a product from it, and I got wicked fucking addicted to
Oh, I
it.
bet
And I
you
didn't
did.
realize I was getting addicted. And it's a very similar feeling to an opiate. The only opiate that I could ever take and not get sick was codeine. I think I got the syrup one time, and I remember that was the closest thing I could think of was those kratom extracts. Felt the exact same feeling, and I was taking them for pain. It worked for a while, and then I realized, like, oh, maybe about a month later, I'm like, oh, why am I still taking these? I'm not in that much pain, so I just stopped taking them. And the next day, it was a Friday that I stopped taking. The next Saturday, I was out there. I was working on my yard, and all of a sudden, I get super sick. And I just felt, I was like, do I have the fucking flu? Like, I don't get the flu. Felt like shit. And all of a sudden, I was like, this feels like withdrawally.
Yeah.
And I was like, so I went inside and I took one just to see, and I felt instantly better. And I was like, fuck, you just got yourself addicted to kratom, bro. And it was really hard to get off of. Like, it was a really, stepping it down and trying to function as an adult and whatever. So, like, even though that's that's child's play compared to real opiates, it gave me that little taste and a little. It was in a moment when I was just so thankful that I never got caught up in that personally, other than losing friends and and whatever. So, what did it take for you to kick that?
Kind of just like losing everything, almost being homeless. I kind of like bounced around from place to place until I couldn't, and eventually it just got to be so. I read a paper one time that when you get around 32 years old, most people start to like come out of their addiction, and that's kind of how it was for me.
Really?
It got to a point where like my emotional intelligence was developed enough where there were times I was sitting there and I'm like, what am I doing? Like, there were times when the addict brain would like trigger you and you'd go get it and you'd spend hours just to figure out and get it, and then you get it, and as soon as you do it, that moment where you're like, oh, this feels good, you don't get that anymore. You're like, well, I feel better, but I also feel really stupid.
Yeah.
And I just blew like all my money. So that probably won't work that way for most people, but for me at least it did. And then I was able to kind of pull back until eventually things improved.
It's interesting that you're saying that, because I feel like I've been kind of I have been experiencing that specifically with marijuana. I do have a bit of an oral fixation, I would say, but also I just like, for such a long time, I do have a fairly addictive personality. So like, thankfully, like you were saying, that was something that I've been aware of since I was a kid. So like, I had to get knee surgery, and they did prescribe me oxys, and I didn't even touch the bottle because I just had I was like, that's not something I should be going for. But recently I'm like, I have the coping mechanisms and like the language to actually like effectively communicate now, so I don't need the weed as much. So when I smoke, I'm like, why am I even doing this? Like, it's not as
I can
fun
see
anymore.
that too. I'll be honest, I think I was kind of destined to go through it. I remember being like 8 years old at the DARE program, and they were going over all the drugs, and as an 8-year-old, I'm like, yeah, I'm probably gonna do everything but and I don't know why. I don't know if I was just ingrained in me for some reason, but that's kind of how it went. And
The parties looked fun. Like the one, they're like, with
it
the
wasn't even
binkies
the
and
parties
everything.
for me. I just wanted to like explore my brain and like know what it was like to experience things. But I guess if I had to say one thing for someone trying to like come off it, do stuff. Like you talked about how you see me doing stuff all the time. I don't feel like I do enough, but everything I do, it's because it's like occupy your time. If you're doing something else, especially if it's something that you can't be like high for, then you kind of have no other choice. And as long as it's something you enjoy and that you can stick to, then it will kind of, before you know it, you'll be like, oh wow, like most of my week's taken up doing stuff that is, good for me.
Yeah, I mean, I think like giving you reasons not to, right? Like, oh, I can't because of X, Y, and Z, right? Like that's a big
and
part
then
of it,
the sunk cost fallacy is once you're far enough, you're like, I put in all this time and I'm gonna throw it away.
Yeah.
And you will sometimes, but you can come back.
Sorry, we had a quick delay because someone's trying to get a new girlfriend. Over there. Yeah, exactly.
Blowing up his
Pay
spot.
attention, engineer Des. What am I looking at? What are you talking about?
She's beautiful.
Oh, it's Alex.
She's beautiful.
Oh, it's your friend. Okay. regardless, pay attention. Sorry, distracted. Yeah, so drugs are bad. Now we got that part away. Okay. And so you said your song "Motivation" was sort of like the.
Yeah, it kind of makes me cringe sometimes, but I like it, and I've had a lot of other people say that it helped them through bad times in their life, and it's basically just about motivation, about like not wanting to waste my energy. That was like kind of at that point in my life where I'm like, what am I doing? I'm wasting all my energy and my money. And especially if you're into something like that, you start to do the math on like how much you're just laying there sleeping. Basically, you're like, I'm just sleeping to the future.
Yeah.
You know. And
Yeah. No, that's very interesting, and I think it's something a lot of people can relate to.
Yeah. Every time someone asks me advice to kids, no one's gonna listen because I get it. I was that kid. But when people at school tell you like don't do drugs, genuinely, you shouldn't do drugs because you can't even comprehend like how much it controls your brain until you're in it, and then you're like, shit, I get it now.
Yeah, I mean, I would also say definitely don't do drugs, except maybe.
I know. I'm like, I kind of like, but no. Can't say that out
I
loud.
think some people might find, again, I would not advocate for this because I would never advocate for drug use. Some people have found some benefits from some psychoactive things.
Yeah,
so I think
they're
I don't
spiritual.
consider
Yeah,
Those
they're.
aren't
I feel
drugs.
like.
That's medicine.
Yeah, no, there's spiritual awakenings that can come from different types of drugs and different experiences. But at the end of the day, you know, it is a lot of dissociation after a while. If you're using something beyond the spiritual awakening, then it does become a form of dissociation, and you really do have to reevaluate your relationship with said substance.
But I find, or I've read, that for hallucinogens, they're not Moorish. Like, after you take mushrooms, you get off a mushroom trip, you're not like, oh, give me more mushrooms.
Yeah,
I'm straight with everything
yeah,
I want to
yeah.
be clear-minded for whatever.
Yeah, I guess
and
I'm-
I think with acid, like, I think it's a similar thing. It's not like, ooh, it might be like, I want more acid next time I go to a concert like this, but, or like, whatever. But I think...
I mean, that's a 12-hour
it's
experience. You can't
Feels
do
like
that.
3 days.
I think it comes down though to like the reason you're doing it too. Like
Yeah.
if you're doing it to escape your day to day, you're probably and you have an addictive personality, you're gonna get hooked. I know people
That's
that
true.
were on shrooms like every day for years.
Really?
Some of them are alright. Some of them are like different people now. Maybe for better, I don't know, but they don't come across better sometimes.
I doubt if you did it every day for years, that would be too beneficial.
Yeah, some people get lost in the sauce and like literally like speak differently and slower, and I can tell it's done something in there.
Yeah.
I think it all comes down to sort of escapism versus getting entangled into life, right? Like when
Exactly.
you want to be entangled in life, you want life to have its fingers in you, and you have your fingers in life. You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't mean that to sound like it definitely sounded, but you know what I'm saying? Like you want to be too busy and too wrapped up in living your life to be like to escape from it, right? Like ideally. And it's I think both of those things are cyclical, slippery, slopey. Like when you start to get better, like it gets easier to get better and more engaged in life, more fingering of life. And I think like when you're starting to get disengaged and you're dissociating, like it becomes easier and easier to do that as well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
And then you run the other risk of once you are doing good for long enough, you start to be like, well, I mean, if I do it again, I won't, I'm not going to do all that again, right? I'll just do a little bit. And then, no, it doesn't work out. Don't recommend that.
I think that's the number one don't recommend of all the things
for
like
sure,
that. Like
yeah.
I'll just have one sip, it'll be fine, or I'll just take one fill in the blank. Like
Yeah,
no matter
dude.
what your thing is, it's not fine. You can't handle it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not ever gonna be just one,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
yeah. Oh, lovely uplifting conversation here at the Doing Better show. But it is. We are talking about doing
It's
better. We
real,
are talking about
yeah.
improving, and this is the hardest stuff, right? Like most of us at some point in time have to get down in the shit in life, right? Like you
Yeah.
have to get down to the emptiness and the dread and all that sort of
Shadow
stuff.
work,
Get
shadow
you.
work. We keep talking about it, but it is one of those things that we do have to have these open discussions so people can understand that like there are so many people that go through it. Addiction is not something that makes you a bad person, but it's it's something that can make you a bad person. It's not your what is it? It's not your fault, but it is your responsibility to take the reins on that.
Right.
Facts.
Yeah. You gonna play a song for us?
Yeah, I can play a song.
Ooh.
All right. So we'll get you. What, Des? What do you got?
Your sister texted you.
Oh, okay.
Oh no.
My sister texted me.
Your sister.
How do you know that? She
Texted
texted.
me.
Uh oh. All right. You guys. My sister texted me and said, "Stop talking about finger banging, geez."
I was gonna say intertwining yourself, like intertwining yourself in life and having life intermingle into so many other things than fingering.
I was thinking like when you stick your finger in a cake that looks good.
You
I'm
just
like,
want that
oh,
cake
yeah.
all in your finger, yeah.
Listen, this is. I'm not always the most eloquent. I'm doing my best.
He's trying.
My life is not been without struggles. I am good. When you are ready to play, I do want to close the window because I don't want that stupid street noise going, but it is way too hot in there. If anyone has any great ideas for solutions for keeping us cool without opening windows or having loud AC units in a large building with way too much heat, I'd love to hear your miracles.
Do like
What?
a computer has like an intake and outtake. You try to get some fans running in here.
But then it's going to noise the whole time.
Quiet.
I mean, I
You
suppose.
could get someone that like really knows about audio, and they could like turn down the frequency of that. I don't know anything about
to
that.
like isolate the specific.
Yeah. I know it's possible.
It is, yeah.
That felt like a diss.
Find a smile. You can get rid of
Someone
this
who
hack
really
you got over
actually
here.
knows about
Well,
audio.
I don't know about audio, okay, and I'm the musical guest, so take that as you will.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Off the mic.
Oh yeah, good call. We good? You just want me to take it away?
We got everything. We good. Everything sound good over there to you, engineer Des? All right, great, awesome. Pay attention, boy. To me. Pay attention to me. To me. All right. That's what I needed. Thank you very much. We have a wonderful performance, direct from Doing Better Studios. Everyone give it up for Kyle James.
Thank you. We'll scoot this just a bit closer.
With a Y. Kyle James with a Y. Jaymes.
Yes, thank you.
Wow, that's cool.
I guess so. It's more of an inconvenience, to be honest. All right. I like to stomp through my apartment. I like to rattle all the walls. I like to shout into the darkness. And I pretend to hear my calls. And I've been wandering out on my own. I left my body, but maybe you'll see me as a ghost. Boo-hoo, poor you. I hope I scare you. Wee, poor me, just stuck in between. Oh, my wide eyes look into the blackness, and when you run up those stairs, I will be grabbing at your feet. Anytime you think of monsters, I'll drag them off into the other. Anytime I catch you staring into space, I'll step into your line of sight to feel like I still have a place. And I've been wandering out on my own. I left my body, but maybe you'll see me as a ghost. Boo-hoo, poor you. I hope I scare stuck in between. Oh, my wide eyes look into the blackness, and when you run up those stairs, I will be grabbing at your feet. Boo-hoo, poor you. Ooh-wee, poor me. Boo-hoo, poor you. And I've been wandering out on my own. I left my body, but maybe you'll see me as a ghost. Thank you.
That
Try
was
not to
wonderful.
cry.
Oh my God, that was so good.
Beautiful.
Thanks.
You have a very, very strong voice, and it's
Can you play another one?
yeah. Do you have more for us?
I can play. I'll play when I
I
might
would
screw this
love
up because I
another
just.
Can you
wrote
tell? Well, before you do that, I want to hear another one, but I want to hear about that song a little bit because. So, yeah, tell me what that song's about because that was your lyrics are really interesting.
Actually, that's one that was the instrumental for that was made by my producer, and I don't usually use stuff other people made unless it's like a beat because I can't make beats really that much. But he sent that to me, and I just immediately like wrote words. It's about being a ghost.
Yeah.
Really, it's not that deep. I was just imagining being a ghost, pretty much. You know.
But like
Oh,
what?
but it sounds so like it does sound so deep. I'm like the ghost of him.
Yeah, like what? That's such a weird perspective to take.
I guess so. Since I've made it though, I've heard of like 4 other songs with the same exact premise, and now I feel kind of cliche.
Fucking
but-
right.
No, I like yours.
I'm kidding, but there are some other good ones out there. Yeah, it's pretty much it. Like what it would be like to be a ghost, and how it must be just lonely, and like how you can see everything happening, but you can't interact at all.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love it, and the vocals are so good, and the chorus is awesome. That's a really
know,
yeah, it's
the
a really
boo-hoo
well
for me.
written, really well written chorus. I
just
really
made
like
me
it.
cry.
Yeah, that's super cool.
Streaming everywhere.
Okay.
Oh well, yeah. Well, sorry, hold on. What's the name of that song?
Haunting.
Haunting. Okay, and people can find it where?
Anywhere you listen to music.
Everywhere. Kyle James with a Y.
Is that acoustic or is there more backing to it?
All the ones on Spotify are like full.
Oh, I can't wait to
Yeah.
listen.
Hell yeah.
All right, we got another one.
All right, yeah, I can
Sweet.
do another one. And if I botch this, just forgive me because I just wrote this.
Nice.
I might have to get closer. It's a bit of a quiet one. I made this lie up inside of my head to keep myself going, to get out of bed, and it works. And it makes me feel alive. Slowly I'll watch as it turns into gold, and a life starts to form from the spores and the mold, and it grows into something beautiful. And all I need is a dream to maintain. I'm doing spins as I circle the drain. I speak the truth, but it always feels wrong. Half the time I find meaning in half of the songs, but I'll muster a whisper and tell myself I am okay. And the town might keep burning, but that's just fresh real estate. And all I need is a dream to maintain. don't mind playing pretend. If something good might appear in the end. Something's coming, hear them running. I hear footsteps, I hear humming. Armies marching, freshly starched, and fight my battles, my characters arching. And I'm waiting, 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 I'm waiting for something good. It'll be so good. Thank you. Something so awkward about 3 people in a room with you clapping.
It's 4 people.
4 people. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, he's in my proof.
I know.
I don't know about
you.
you.
Didn't want to break that fourth wall, you know.
I played for some small crowds before. You got to take the claps you can get. 4's not bad. I've definitely had less than 4 people clapping for me before. So
That's true. The worst is like an open mic, the guy there watching sports who just turns and gives you like 5 claps. Back to sports.
I've been that guy before. Sorry.
That was so good, though. Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you want to do another one? It looks like you're geared up for another one, or I don't want to pressure you if you're all done.
I can do more if you want. You want me to do another one later? Or you have
Let's
stuff coming?
let's do we'll end on another one. Yeah. So we got our standard doing better questions, and I've slightly edited them. I didn't get permission from anybody else before I did this, but I made a slight edit to our doing better questions to try and tighten them up a little bit. So here's our doing better questions for you. Question number 1. You mentioned that you're from Hooksett and then Manchester.
Yes.
What do you think has had a bigger impact on your life? The place that you're from or the places that you've traveled to, the places that you've seen?
Probably the place where I'm from. I strive to be in Hooksett again, dude. I don't want to be in Manchester. I don't like the city. I just want to be in the woods.
Hooksett, if you're unfamiliar with it, is a beautiful, beautiful, like mostly used to be very farmy, right? Town in New Hampshire. It's rather expensive these days. It's probably one of the it's definitely top 10% area code in the country. I got to imagine for housing costs.
Yeah,
it's pretty fancy.
My family squeaked in there. We were like the poor people of the town.
Well, and I think it's very different. Not that Hooksett was a poor town 20 years ago or whatever, but it's in the last 5 or 10 years, southern New Hampshire is such a hot real estate market. People wanting to be a commuting distance from Boston without the taxes or the regulations of Massachusetts. Like the people are all about it. That's so right now we're looking for a house, and the difference between being northern Mass and southern New Hampshire is between $50,000 and $100,000.
Really?
It's a big jump. And Hooksett is like the classic, not that far away, but feels very far away town. Like it's a very quiet little town, right? Like it feels like you're in the middle of nowhere, but you're only 15 minutes from the highway.
Yeah, especially if you get like a nice like a side road, not one of the main ones. You're just pretty much in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah. What about how's Manchester had an effect on you?
Well, see, this is another thing. Speaking of like recovery, it has not been bad, and it just occurred to me recently that I may have just been like experiencing it in a different frequency. There were years where all I would notice was like homeless people or like people shooting up or something like that, and it was like all I could see. And then as I started to like get better, sometimes I go out and I'm like, it's actually a cool little city here, and it's not that bad. So I feel like it's like the wavelength you're on.
That's a very interesting perspective, and even without the sort of like the new age frequency like focus, like which I'm all about. By the way, I'm not shitting on your new age take on it.
We
but
just
had a
I think
like I think just you what you look for, you see, right?
Exactly.
And I think it's very easy for two people to see the same exact place completely differently, or for one person at two different places in their life. And I think it's a good. We talk a lot about owning things and taking responsibility, and sometimes I think for all of us at some point in time, and maybe for all of us right in this moment, there's things that are bad because you make them that way. Right, there's things that you're having a negative experience with because that's how you're interacting with it. And not saying the homeless people and the people shooting up would not be a bad thing regardless, but the way it interacts with you and your universe, we have a lot of control over that lens, right? Like you control where you look. So I think that's a great point, and I think I just love the sort of ownership and the taking.
Yeah,
over.
when you raise your vibrations, I really do feel like it does impact
Oh, for sure.
everything else. I mean, my mom used to make this joke all the time because her and my dad were obsessed with The Secret.
Oh,
It's like
yeah.
what you put out comes
Yeah.
back to you, but it's so real.
Yeah, no,
It's real in like a sense. Like,
I know we hate The Secret.
I mean, yeah. I got into The Secret. I had a vision board and everything, and the vision has not come true yet. But I do think, and also if you're like, if you're addicted to something, the only people you're interacting with are other people there. So then you start to be like, this whole town is just shysters.
That's good. So because we talked a lot about this in one context, so maybe in a different context, what's one thing you're doing better now than the old you, and how did you make that change? So we talked a lot about the drug part, obviously, but is there other growth that you've had that you sort of reflect on and think has been a big part of your mission?
90% of everything is just occupying my time. I think partially because I'm a millennial and it was like before they were just doling out ADHD meds.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I'm ADHD, maybe like some type of on the spectrum. I don't know. I just know that I've learned that I interpret things and handle things differently than most people. And the only thing that really stops me from screwing myself is if I just fill my time with, do a podcast this night, do a live this day, try to write something this day, and just don't let yourself sit. What is it? Idle hands are the devil's playground or something? Yeah, that's very true for me.
Yeah, and not to be too wicked negative. No, I'm not even.
I
I already started. So, but like, there is a thing when if you sit and think for too long, everything sucks.
Oh my God, dude, this is my life.
The infinite
Spiraling.
dread of the unknown, and like all that. Like, it's very easy to sit there and make yourself fucking insane.
Oh,
right?
yeah,
Like,
dude.
and I've done it for large portions of my life, and like sometimes I think there's a lot to like just get the fuck out and go do stuff.
Yeah, I wish I could turn that part of my brain off. Like, there's so many days where I'm like, oh, I'm so tired, nice and tired. I can't wait to lay down. And then I lay down and my brain's like, do you remember that thing you did when you were 13?
Oh my God, I know. I literally scream too. Like, I'll be dead asleep and then I'll think of that thing and I'm like,
Yeah, and I'm like, it's not even a big deal, but for some reason, like, the cringe factor.
cringe!
My brain
It's
is
the
so
cringe!
intense.
Yeah.
Hey, no regrets.
No, the cringe,
that's what
the
I
cringe
leave it
gets
at.
you.
I
Oh my
get-
God.
Yeah, as up until recently, I understand that feeling, but now like, every time I get something like that, I'm like, no regrets. We're gonna die.
Yeah, you know what's
We're gonna
funny,
die.
though?
I'm crying.
Like, mistakes I made because of drugs, I'm very easily able to be like, that was a different person, that was me. But I think something about it being totally sober 12-year-old me, that it's like, this is who you are.
Yeah, to your core.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Hey, hate yourself. You cannot
But-
hate yourself enough.
Just to like tie in our earlier conversation about like music and like constantly being like, do I even like this? Do I love this? I was going to say at one point, like, it's also neurodivergence. Like, I feel like that's a huge impact on like focus and creativity and like whether we make something good or we don't. It's like, how are you feeling within your brain?
Yeah,
that
and
day?
there's times where, like, usually I end up, like, rage quitting and deleting what I've done. But there's been times where I left it and then went back to it on a day where I was, like, confident, Kyle. And then I listened, I'm like, this wasn't
that bad,
Why
yeah.
did I keep redoing this?
Yeah.
And I think sometimes like things are a process, right? Like things take. Pay attention, boy. What are you talking about? Time. Say thank you for your warning. But pay attention to your job. I'm so mean to engineer Des. He's wonderful and talented. And I totally forgot what I was saying because I was too busy. That's what I get for being a dick to you.
So you get for glazing.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Sorry. Let's move on to our next question because I forgot what I was going to say.
ADHD. Neurodivergence.
What is one small change you think individuals could make that would have a big impact on society? Do you think there's one little thing that we could all do a little bit better that would have a big impact? Because I think so often we get caught up in everything feels like an impossibly huge problem. Certainly when you get out, when you talk about politics and world issues and whatever, it's like, oh my God, everything is so big and out of control and so terrible. And I think sometimes little things have a big impact. Do you think there's any little thing that people could do better that would have a big impact?
Stop acting like the internet is reality. Like,
Oh, yes.
all the time online, all it is this person's terrible, this person's a Nazi, you're terrible because of whatever opinion you have. But then you go into the real world and it's like everyone's getting,
Yeah.
You would expect based on the internet that you'd go to the grocery store and see someone be like, get out of here, whatever. But no, you never see that because it's all just like, I think it's fake. Like you mentioned bots earlier.
Yeah.
I genuinely think it could be bots.
I think there's a lot of dead internet. There's a
Yeah,
lot
yeah.
of dead internet. Yeah, I think there's a huge amount of the night. I have to catch myself because I'm someone who's like, well, actually, here's the real thing. Like, I get what you're saying. Here's the part of the point. You're right. But here's here
You
where you
get
can
what
like,
that bot is saying?
yeah, no, exactly. And I'll write a whole ass fucking essay when I'm like, well, actually, what I mean here is this. And to be clear, when I define capitalism, I mean, and I'll write this whole essay, and it's like, yeah, it's a fucking bot. That's a fake account. For,
Yeah, and then even if you are successful, so many people see that and they're like, this motherfucker typing 500 words in the comment section? Like,
that's
get
me.
out of here.
Yeah, that's me. No, but I think that is such a good point, and I think it's so. The anonymity and the distance of the internet makes people assholes. Like, even myself, like, if I'm replying to someone on the internet who I don't know in real life, I have, like, a little bit of action, me, and you should me, right? As opposed to, like, if this is real life and you said something I didn't agree with, I wouldn't be like, well, you fucking moron.
Right.
I know a bunch of morons who think that, too. And if I was stupid, I might be that, you know what I'm saying?
Like, speak for yourself.
But it's so easy to be a meaner person you are in real life on the internet than,
Yeah, and I think it's also like, I'm also learning this as I get older. Sarcasm is a very New England thing. And there are so many things that I read and I'm like, this is sarcastic. But West Coasters might read it and be like, this person is serious.
So
oh
rude.
my God.
Yeah.
Like, we have a problem in this country. Yeah.
I saw this video of this girl who was like, I saw a TikTok and this girl from the South was saying that girls from the Northeast are so much more aggressive. And I started commenting, now where the fuck would you get a dumb idea like that? And I hit the backspace because that's where she got it. I'm like, yeah.
That's funny. All right, next question. Shout out time. What person or group of people have helped you do better in your life? Who are like your biggest? Who's been your biggest supporters? Maybe in overall, or just like one little moment when one person did one thing. You're like, oh, that made a big difference.
I want my mom, but if you could just imagine that clip of the going, I love you, mama. That's how I want to say it. And then also, one of my old bosses, Justina. I think at the time I didn't think anyone knew what was going on with me.
Yeah.
I thought I hit it so well, and I think I did for a while. But looking back, I'm pretty sure that there were some people who could tell what was going on. They're like, we got to get this kid in a better situation. So those would be my two big shout outs. Unless you mean like musical inspiration or something.
I mean, you can share that too. Anything positive, I'd love to get more of. So yeah.
Incubus, Taking Back Sunday, The Early November, Say Anything.
Oh my
There's
God,
so many more, but those are like big ones for me.
Nice.
That
Nice.
was my middle school
I
experience.
can definitely hear some of that influence.
Hell yeah.
Yeah,
nice.
that's awesome.
The Early
right.
November is a hard name.
What's
I like
that?
The Early November. I like that name.
Yeah, they're pretty good.
All right, fun one. What is your? This is a two-part question. Part one: what is your favorite food? What's your favorite meal to sit down to?
Ooh. Lately, it's been Indian food.
Oh yeah. We're getting pretty blessed in Southern New Hampshire because we've had an influx of Indians in the last 20 years, and they can fucking cook. So
We
like.
have so many restaurants in Manchester.
Yeah, and like Nashua, I first lived in Nashua right when he was born, actually, like 16 years ago. We lived there for a year until before we moved back to Haverhill, and then we moved back up to Nashua 4 or 5 years ago. And the change that Nashua made in that like 10 or 15 year interim was amazing, and a lot of it was just about more diverse people coming in. So we've definitely benefited from immigration in our cuisine because Nashua used to be gross for food. There was nothing.
Irish bar food.
Yeah, and like bad Irish bar food because nobody's fucking Irish in Nashua. Like, like it was not good. And now there's a couple of Spanish restaurants and there's a whole bunch of Indian restaurants and they're lovely. So yeah, Indian food is where it's at.
Indian food is so good, dude.
Would you rather never eat Indian food again or only eat it for the rest of your life?
Never eat it again.
So
That was so fast.
That was quick, yeah.
I could not. I can't. I mean, I've been going through this problem lately where I'm hungry and I go to eat and I go, food is so boring. Like, I'm just mushing shit up and swallowing it. And then I'm going to do this again and again and again.
That's so not Taurus.
I mean, I never used to be like this until lately, but it's weird. I try to like branch out what I make and I go to the store and I come home and I'm like, how do I have the same stuff that I get every week? No matter what I do. I try to do recipes, get home, same stuff. Or maybe I'm just too lazy to make the recipes. That's probably the problem, yeah.
But still, so you like to cook?
Yeah. I mean, yes.
Do you think that's a creative outlet for you too?
Sometimes. I don't know. I don't really cook anything like fancy, but when I have, I don't know if it's a creative outlet, but I do definitely be like, look what I made.
Yeah.
Do you have a problem? I have this problem where like I'll cook a whole meal, make it look so good, aesthetically pleasing, and then I just can't eat it.
No, I can eat
endlessly.
I can't even imagine having that problem.
Oh my God, it's so annoying. It's because I mean, it's like everything. If I like hold off on something for too long, I just won't. I won't do it. Like I won't eat. I won't go to the bathroom. I don't know if that's like I don't know if that's the neurodivergence, but it's probably a part of it.
The only time I have a problem eating the food is if the whole time I've been cooking, I've been like eating ingredients the whole time, and then like
I'll still eat it.
Save it for later and eat it.
Should we get one more song before we call it a day?
Yeah.
All right.
Make it emotional.
No pressure. No pressure.
Make it emotional. What do you want?
Wait,
I got
can
an
you play
email.
that first one? Motivation.
Oh yeah, I can play that.
That'd be cool.
Nice.
Forgive me for bringing up these lyrics, but
Do what you got to do, my friend.
brain loses all memory when I'm on the spot.
Yeah, do what you got to do, and thank you for Des. And then you put the camera on him, looking up his lyrics right as he says "forgive me." You're like, "Let me put you on blast. Look at this hack looking up his lyrics."
What if I had my nudes on?
Yeah, for real. What if he had my news on there?
I don't know what my background is. All right, this one is very emo, like
I love it.
embarrassingly emo. Sometimes I'm like, I don't like,
Good.
I feel like your voice, I don't care. You can sing whatever.
Okay, thanks. All right. I'm stuck in the silence of everyday life. I work so hard and I hardly get by. Me and all my friends, we can barely survive. And there's no success till you've done enough time. I didn't want to be an outcast. I only tried to help the time pass. If I'd have known it would be worthless, would not have started in the first place. Sorry about that. We're all just searching for our space. Why do I feel like I should hide my face? I'm stuck in the silence of everyday life. I work so hard and I hardly get by. Me and all my best friends can barely survive. And there's no success until you've done enough time. I don't want to waste my motivation anymore. I'll break in through the windows if you lock the doors. pretend like I am not a fuck up. I'm stuck in the silence of everyday life. I work so hard and I hardly get by. Me and all my friends, we can barely survive. And there's no success until you've done enough time. Ooh, ba ba da. Ah, ooh, ba 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 ba. I can't say that I wasted what I threw away. I never had a chance, but I still chose to stay. I've heard complacence is the enemy. I never had the faith, but it doesn't hurt to pray. I'm stuck in the silence of everyday life. I work so hard and I hardly get by. Me and all my friends, we can barely survive. And there's no success till you've done enough time. Thank you.
That one's like an anthem. That seems like a millennial anthem or something, right?
Yeah,
Like,
honestly,
it does. Like,
after your third chorus, I was like, we gotta get some like harmonies in here, and you're like, ooh. I was like,
Oh, there's harmonies. in
that's
there,
the
yeah.
emo.
that's awesome. That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me. man.
Everyone can find you at Kyle James Music.
Yes, Jaymes.
Jaymes. Get it right. And on all the platforms, definitely grab them on TikTok if you're on TikTok. The lives I think are awesome. So if you're into that stuff, get on TikTok. But yeah, Kyle James Music everywhere. It was really, really great to have you. Great chat and awesome music. I'm inspired. I'm motivated. So thank you for that.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. This was cool.
Yeah, no, thanks for coming. Any last words, guys, before we call it a night? Amberly, anything from you?
It is my birthday next week, 420. So
Oh yeah, Amberly won't be here next week. Amberly's turning up all weekend.
yeah, in Canada. Hopefully they let me back in.
Yeah, right. Deezy, what do you got going on?
A lot. Look at my Instagram.
Lots of stuff. Engineer Des, anything you want to say before we call it a night? No, it's just he shakes his hair, his head. And Kyle, any last words before we call it a night?
I would like to play gigs. If anyone sees this and wants me to play a gig, please let me know. Also, if anyone wants to be in a band,
There you
I'm
go.
down. Although you got to play my songs. I'm done. I'm not starting over.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you guys for joining us. Thanks certainly to Kyle James, our guest today. It's been an awesome show. We will see you next week. Remember, next week we will have our full array of shows. We will have Doing Better News at 6 o'clock. We'll talk about local issues, local news, and upcoming events. We'll have Sunday Sanity Check with me talking about from 7 till 8. And then at 8 o'clock we'll have the Doing Better show with another guest. Thanks so much, guys.